Greetings, everyone. So I want to share this iris that I recently did an analysis on, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what iridologists can see when we look into your eyes. Now, I'm not going to share, I'm not going to touch on everything that I saw in this iris. However, I will share with you a few of the things that I pointed out to the client that I suggested that she take notice of and maybe pay attention to. So let's get into it. Before we look at the iris, I want to share with you all an iris map because this will help you better grasp how I'm viewing the iris. So this is what a full iris map looks like. And you can see that both the right and the left iris are represented. So notice that at the top of both irises are basically body parts and organs, that correspond with the top of our body, our brain, our neck, our face, our throat. And then when we go to the bottom, the same thing, these are, lower organs and extremities that, correspond, with the bottom of our body. We have the hip, thigh, the knee. We have the groin, the pelvis, the abdomen, the kidneys, the bladder, the testes, and ovaries. When we go to the middle, here, we have those organs that correlate to the middle of our body. We have the heart, the bronchioles, we got the ribs and the breasts, we have the lungs. So already we can see that the map of the eye, is aligned with how the physical body is actually structured. So some other things to note are the zones and times. So as you can see, there are numbers around the iris, which, correlate to the times on the clock. And then there are 7 color-coded zones, which represent organs and body systems, which it'll make more sense, once we, dive into it. So I just wanted to show you guys, what a iris map looks like. So because I'll be flipping back and forth as we, review this analysis. And so what I have here, this is a woman's left iris. And I put these cross marks here just to keep with the clock, the 12, 3, 6, 9, and in between, so that when I start, identifying the markers and things of that nature, we'll use time and zones. So one thing about I want to point out is that brown eyes are probably the hardest iris color to identify different pigments. So within like a blue eye or maybe a biliary mixed eye, you can definitely see colors, like different pigments mean different things and correspond to different organs and things of that nature. So you may see orange, you may see yellow, you may see rust color in those different color irises, like a blue and then a mixed iris. However, within the brown iris, it's very difficult to see colors because of the amount of melanin within the iris itself. So what we will see, however, is lightening and darkening. So, and lightening is an indicator in any iris. You may see light raised fibers or, lighter colored or white fibers in, those other color eyes, blue and mixed eyes, but just a lightening and a lighter brown, if you will, in a hematogenic, a brown hematogenic eye. So my first, attention was drawn to the lightning within this area. So what I want to point out, though, however, is you see this outline here, this, you can kind of see there's an outline there. It disappears a little bit here at the bottom, but there is an outline of an area there. That is called the collarette. And what I'm looking at, in comparison to the chart is this wavy line here. This is the collarette. Excuse me. And what the collarette is also called the autonomic nerve wreath. And it's made up of arteries that are, just intertwined with the nerves from the nervous system. So this is a very important area. The collarette is probably one of the most important, places in the iris. Because what it does is it outlines zone 1 and zone 2. So as we look at, as we talk about zones, like over here on the key, the map key, basically Zone 1 is our stomach zone, which is green, and zone 2 is the tan zone, which is our, our intestines. And within that zone, we have our nervous system. Okay. So the collarette encompasses those two zones. So that means anything within these zones, and basically anything that's touching this collarette, can possibly affect our nervous system. So this is a very important area of the iris, which correlates to the body. So what occurs in this area, in these this zone 1 and 2, green and tan, is digestion in the stomach and absorption in the intestines. So, and we know how important digestive health is. So I wanted to point that out. So as we look at this iris, again, the first thing that stood out to me, even before any of the markings, was the lightning. There is a lot of lightning in that zone 1 and 2. Apologies, y'all. My battery died. So as I was speaking about previously, was this zone 1 and 2, the nutritive zone is called. So basically, this lightning in the entire zone. However, is more prominent and prevalent right here in this area down here. So what this is an indicator of, as we go back and look at the chart, the high amount of lightning was in this area, and that's in the small intestines area. Now, the small intestine is the area where we absorb our nutrients. So one thing about brown hematogenic eyes, and each eye color, brown, blue, and then mixed the biliary, they all have their own set of potential tendencies, if you will, just based off the color of the iris alone. So with brown eyes, some of the tendencies are thick blood. Some of the tendency, another tendency is nutrient absorption. So we have a problem absorbing our nutrients because we burn through them so fast. So that is just based off of our eyes being brown. Those are some of the tendencies that we have. So we are definitely individuals with brown eyes, people who should definitely tend to and nurture our nutritive zone, our digestive system, our intestines, because we need nutrients because we burn through them so very fast. Meaning, as we eat, we're not absorbing. Even if we are absorbing nutrients from our food, we're just burning through them so fast that we're not retaining them enough to make a difference in our bodies. So this lightning was very, very, prominent to me, and it stood out. So, I did suggest that she does tend to, her digestion, because I asked her about her digestion. I asked her about, how she feels in regards to nutrients. Is she weak? Does she, feel like she has lack of energy, things of that nature. But I want to get into this area here because this was the next thing that I looked at that stood out to me, this whole area over here. And we're looking at what we call lacunas. So a lacuna is basically a separation of fibers within the iris, okay? And they can be very deep, they can be dark, they can be, more shallow and not as deep, which they wouldn't be as dark. However, they can also be opened or closed. So this here, I would consider an open lacuna because I can see the top of it, but I really can't see the bottom formation. Now here, this would be considered a closed lacuna because I can see all the way around the formation. I can see the entire formation of the lacuna. The difference with that is that an open lacuna is more prone to, receive nutrients. We can get nutrients to that area a little more easier than we can with a closed lacuna. A closed lacuna has more difficulty getting nutrients in that area. So the first lacuna that I wanted to take note of was this one here. And this is around approximately about 305. And we're in zones. This is where the zones come in, zones 4 and 5. It expands and extends about 2 zones, zones 4 and 5. So if we look at the iris chart, and I'm going to just pull up the left side since we're looking at the left eye, here's the 3 o'clock. We're about 3:05 in here, but this zone, we're still looking in a whole zone. We considered the whole zone, even though the lacuna was right around here. We're still looking at what's in the area, because all of that may also very well be affected. Now, when we get into the zones, we're talking about zone 4 and 5. So we're just the light pink and the green, and we're down here about 3:05. So we are in the chest area, the breast area, the lungs, the bronchioles, the heart is in that area. We look all around to see what's going on there. So my question to the client was whether or not, she had, any type of family history of circulation issues, any type of breast ailments, any type of breathing problems, lungs, and her response was basically that her great grandfather, he actually had a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, due to coronary thrombosis, and all that is a clogging of the arteries. It's basically a buildup of fats and cholesterol in the arteries. So he had a heart attack based off of a clogged arteries. So that was interesting to see that. So or to know that. So the next one that I also took note of was this one here, and we're about 255. We just call it 255. And this is a closed lacuna. This lacuna here is more closed than this one was. So, and this one, we're right there at 3 o'clock pretty much. So as we look at the chart, 3 o'clock goes straight to the heart. So we're still in that breast area. We're still in that, lung and breast and bronchioles and things of that nature. We're in that area. And she also alluded to the fact that her grandmother, she had pneumonia due to breast cancer. So her grandmother had breast cancer and caught pneumonia, and that's how she passed. So, this was something that, like I said, again, what drew my attention, because there was so much activity in this area, so many lacunas. We have another lacuna here, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's all in that area, the breast, lungs, the chest, the heart. So, my suggestion to her was that, because she's not experiencing any of these things now, clogged arteries or, breast problems or things like that. So, the suggestion would be to be proactive in, taking measures, to ensure that she does not, contract any of these same health ailments or issues that, her grandparents did. So, and that's the thing about, iris analysis, is that we see these markers, and the fact that they're there means that, there's a potential for this individual to contract what her ancestors did, basically, because the markers are there. So when we see markers in an iris, these markers go back for 4 generations. So, you look back 4 generations to see what some of the health issues were. And these are just indicators. If the person is not actually directly currently dealing with any of these issues, the potential is there. And that's why, iris analysis are a great way to be proactive, because it can tell you, just the fact that they're there, it means you have the potential to have these ailments. So you want to get ahead of them. And, some of the suggestions I made to her were, drinking dark cherry juice, and to up her green juice intake, more of her greens. And also, because we're dealing with the digestion and the absorption issues, not to drink super hot and super cold beverages, because that, hinders our absorption, So, we spoke on that. But, doing a colon and a liver cleanse, also just, some of the natural things, getting out in nature, what I'm saying, relaxing and grounding. And being that she's having, a predisposition for these, these circulation and breast issues and heart issues and things of that nature, she wants to do more deep breathing. She wants to learn to breathe properly, because that's going to help with her strengthening this area, these areas of concern. So, teas like hawthorn, hawthorn berry and leaf and things will help with the arteries and the heart and strengthening those areas. So, those were just some of the suggestions. There was other things that were going on, of course, because we look into both eyes. But, these were just some of the things. And I just wanted to give you guys an example of how we look at an iris, some of the things we look at, what we look for, some of the questions that we ask, and how it can correlate to what's currently going on with somebody and what may possibly in the future or what has gone on in her family history. So there's a lot of things that, a lot of additional things that go on with the iris. I mean, we look at all the zones, we look at these rings here, these are high. Remember, we talked about lightning. These are what they call, stress rings, and it's just so much that you can see in the iris. And, it's just a great modality. It's a great, indicator of how to be proactive in your health. So my calendar is open, guys. You can click the link in the link tree to schedule an analysis with me. And I hope this helps, you all, be more comfortable with what it is that an iris analysis is and what we do, what we look for, just things of that nature, because it is a great way to, determine, types of nutrients that may be needed and, different things that we can do to, be proactive and to prohibit any type of further or, future, health issues.